Okay, thank you very much for joining for this glorification of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, and for my own purification as well. So today we're reading from Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization. Check and text number 19. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udriyat naste prayeshu abhadveshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. So Srimad Bhagavatam 2:19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now, before we go on to this verse, I just wanted to quickly recap the different stages of yoga which have been described in previous verses. So verse 16, it talked about the yama, niyama, and asana, the three aspects of the yoga Veda. So yama refers to we leave home and practice self-control. Niyama is bathe regularly at a sacred place. Asana is sit down in a secluded and sanctified place. Then text 17, it talked about the next stage is the pranayama. Remember Om and regulate breathing. Sanatana Prabhu very nicely explained about meaning of Om and so forth, how it represents Radha Krishna, etc. And text 18 talks about the pratyahara and dharana stages. So pratyahara means withdraw the mind from sense activities, and dharana is fix the mind with intelligence on the Lord's form. So today we're discussing the dhyana and samadhi stages in text number 19. So dhyana basically means meditate on each limb of the Lord without deviating from the conception of whole body of the Lord. And samadhi is completely reconcile the mind in Vishnu without any other thought. So dhyana and samadhi, those are the aspects discussed in verse number 19. So we'll just recite the verse. Tatraikavaya vam dhyayat avyuchinena cetasa mano nirvisayam yutva tata kinchana nasmaret padam tat paramam vishnor mano yatra prasidati. So word to word synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms: tatra, thereafter; eka, one by one; avyaya, avyabam, limbs of the body; dhyaya, should be concentrated upon; avyuchinnena, without being deviated from the complete form; cetasa, by the mind; manaha, mind; nirvisayam, without being contaminated by sense objects; yuktva, being dovetailed; tataha, after that; kinchana, anything; na, do not; smaret, think of; padam, personality; tat, that; param, supreme; Vishnu, of Vishnu; manaha, the mind; yatra, whereupon; prasidati, becomes reconciled. Translation: thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu, one after another, without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth, the mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only. Someone like to read the purport, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Foolish persons, bewildered by the external energy of Vishnu, do not know that the ultimate goal of the progressive search after happiness is to get in touch directly with Lord Vishnu. the personality of Godhead. Vishnu Tattva is an unlimited expansion of different transcendental forms of the personality of Godhead, and the supreme or original form of Vishnu Tattva is Govinda, or Lord Krishna, the supreme cause of all causes. Therefore, thinking of Vishnu or meditating upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, specifically upon Lord Krishna, is the last word on the subject of meditation. This meditation may be begun from the lotus feet of the Lord. One should not, however, forget or be misled from the complete form of the Lord. Thus, one should practice thinking of the different parts of his transcendental body, one after another. Here in this verse, it is definitely assured that the Supreme Lord is not impersonal. He is a person, but his body is different from those of conditioned persons like us. Otherwise, meditation beginning from the pranav, Omkar, up to the limbs of the personal body of Vishnu would not have been recommended by Shukdev Goswami for the attainment of complete spiritual perfection. The Vishnu forms of worship in great temples of India are not therefore arrangements of idol worship, as they are wrongly interpreted to be by a class of men with a poor fund of knowledge. Rather, they are different spiritual centers of meditation on the transcendental limbs of the body of Vishnu. The worshipable deity in the temple of Vishnu is identical with Lord Vishnu by the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Therefore, a neophyte's concentration or meditation upon the limbs of Vishnu in the temple, as contemplated in the revealed scriptures, is an easy opportunity for meditation for persons who are unable to sit down tightly at one place and then concentrate upon Pranav Omkar or the limbs of the body of Vishnu, as recommended herein by Shukdev Goswami, the great authority. The common man can benefit more by meditating on the form of Vishnu in the temple than on the Omkar, the spiritual combination of AUM, as explained before. There is no difference between Omkar and the forms of Vishnu, but persons unacquainted with the science of absolute truth try to create dissension by differentiating between the forms of Vishnu and that of Omkar. Here it is indicated that the Vishnu form is the ultimate goal of meditation, and as such it is better to concentrate upon the forms of Vishnu than on impersonal Omkar. The latter process is also more difficult than the former. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much. So in this verse number 19, I'll read the translation again. Thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu one after another without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus, the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth, the mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only. Om Jnanatimidnasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Tama Krishna Goswami Niti Namine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse is a powerful instruction on meditative focus and spiritual concentration. So quite a few things to be unpacked here. So please stay with me. So it emphasizes that true meditation involves contemplating the complete form of Vishnu, not just isolated aspects. So we have to focus on the complete aspect of Vishnu. And by doing so, the mind detaches from material distractions and finds peace in divine consciousness. And in the purport, the deity worship is also mentioned, which we'll address a bit later on in the talk. So the spiritual focus, there are different points which come out from this verse and the purport. So we'll address some of it, time willing. So the first one is spiritual focus and meditation. So the verse instructs us, the practitioners, to meditate on the limbs of Vishnu one by one without losing the sight of his complete form. So this methodical meditation helps the mind, our mind, to detach from material sense objects, which are often like the source of distraction and suffering. And then we attach to the form of the Lord. It emphasizes exclusive concentration, like one-pointed focus, the mind, like ekagrata. The mind should not wander here and there, but with one focus, one-pointed focus, we should meditate on Vishnu. So how do we meditate? Like how do we take darshan? In the temples as well, when we see the deity. So we can always start with the lotus feet of the Lord. And just imagine in our mind, the softness, the radiance coming out from the lotus feet of Krishna. And then we slowly move upward to his legs, and then his waist, his chest, which is adorned with the Kaustupa gem and garland of flowers, Vajanti Mala. And we can also visualize, if you are sitting and meditating, we can also visualize the four arms of Vishnu, holding different objects, for example. The conch, which is the sankha, disc or chakra, mace, the gada, and lotus, the padma. And the acharyas explain this conch, disc, lotus, and mace, they signify different things. For example, the conch, it represents the primeval sound of creation. It's pretty heavy, right? Discus symbolizing the cosmic order and the mind. The lotus represents purity and spiritual liberation, and the mace signifying strength, power, and authority. So if we can imagine that Lord Vishnu is with these four symbols, we can understand that these attributes together, they represent Vishnu's role as the preserver and sustainer. That's why Vishnu can maintain. We know Brahma creates, Lord Shiva destroys. But because of this attribute which Lord Vishnu has, he is the sustainer and maintainer of the universe, embodying his divine qualities of power, beauty, knowledge, and righteous action. And then finally, we end up with his face glowing like the moon, and his eyes full of, lotus-like eyes full of compassion. So we also had the different cantos of Srīmad Bhāgavatam also represent different parts of the body. Like the first two cantos represent Krishna's feet. The thighs represent cantos 3 and 4. Right? The abdomen is canto 5, chest is canto 6, the two arms canto 7 and 8, neck is canto 9, face is canto 10, the forehead canto 11, and the head is canto 12. So all these literatures, they also describe different parts of the Lord as well. So if we focus our mind like this, in whatever way possible, the practices help our mind to detach from worldly distractions and become absorbed in the divine beauty of the Lord. Now, the second point here is the cosmic meditation. If we can even meditate on the form of Mahavishnu, just lying in the causal universe. Now, when he breathes out all these universes that come out from different pores of Mahavishnu. And then he enters into each universe and lies on the Ananta Sesh. And from his navel comes Lord Brahma. So there are different ways we can meditate upon different forms of the Lord. And this form also reflects on how all creation emanates from Lord Vishnu or Krishna only. Yet he remains untouched and serene. So this deepens our understanding of Vishnu as the supreme reality and fosters awe and surrender. Next point is the personal nature of the divine. So the verse also affirms that Vishnu is not impersonal. He is a transcendental person with a spiritual form, unlike the material bodies we have or we know of. And Srila Prabhupada explains very nicely with the example of the sun, the three aspects of the Lord, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So the sun's rays represent, it's like the Brahman aspect. The globe represents the Paramatma aspect, localized within our hearts. And the deity Vivaswan within the sun represents the personal form of the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. So this counters the idea that ultimate reality is formless or void. Instead, it represents a personal God who can be meditated upon and loved. Now, next point mentioned in the purport is about temple worship and deity meditation. I'm just going briefly, but in the end, we'll summarize again. So meditating on Vishnu's form is not idol worship. The deity in the temple is spiritually identical with the Lord through his inconceivable potency. So the temples become spiritual centers where one can engage in deep meditation as well. The next point mentioned is the mind and the reconciliation and peace. The ultimate goal is for the mind to become reconciled and peaceful in Vishnu. So when the mind is absorbed in the supreme truth, it no longer seeks pleasures elsewhere because it has attained the highest pleasure at the lotus feet of Krishna. So this brings inner harmony and spiritual fulfillment. So this verse actually, if you like, it's like a gateway to bhakti, another path of devotion. So it teaches that true meditation is not just about like sitting silently or emptiness. It's about loving remembrance of the divine person, beginning with his feet and moving upwards. And then how we can meditate on different forms of the Lord, the deity form of the Lord. So whether it's through visualization, whether it's through mantra chanting or devotional focus, it offers a rich tapestry of benefits that touch the body, mind, and soul. So some of the benefits which we get, are mentioned here as well. So mental clarity and peace. So when we meditate, we get rid of the mental chatter. It fosters emotional stability, easing anxiety and stress. Spiritual awakening is the other thing. It deepens our connection with the divine consciousness and aligns our eternal truths, and then helps us rise above temporary worldly concerns. Bhakti-based meditation also cultivates love and surrender towards the Supreme. It transforms the heart, making it more compassionate, humble, and joyful. Srila Prabhupada always said that devotional service should be joyfully performed. So we should always be joyful in performing whatever devotional service we are doing. Not that, oh, Prabhuji, why did you give me this service? Oh, Krishna, I'm struggling with this. Well, if you for some reason, some body ailment or whatever it might be, if you really can't do a service, then just nicely, humbly say, Prabhuji, because of this reason I can't do this, but I can do something else. But whatever we do, whether, in the kitchen or Harinam or whatever we're doing, it should be joyfully performed. That's the main thing. Even simple techniques like breathing techniques or whatever, yoga techniques you might do, it leads to better focus, vitality, and overall well-being, which means we can serve the Lord better. And once we know that Krishna or Vishnu is the ultimate protector, then we can understand that everything, all the strengths, the positive energy, the spiritual resilience we're getting, it comes from Vishnu only. So the different ways once our mind is settled, once our mind is engaged in the service of the Lord in meditative mode, then the mind gets a lot of benefit as well. So the repetition of sacred sounds or mantras, it draws the mind away from distractions and into deeper concentration, where we can go deep inside within us as well and connect with the Supreme Absolute Truth. It also calms the nervous system. The chanting activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and reduces stress. This makes it especially helpful for those who struggle with, like, for example, anxiety, or sometimes, racing thoughts or panic attacks, things like that. But once we nicely sit down, chant, focus on each mantra, hear each mantra, it just calms the mind down. Facilitates ego transcendence. This is how, when I was reading, I thought this was interesting. So as the mind becomes absorbed in the sound, vibration, and the rhythm, the egoic thoughts slowly fade away. So this opens the door to a deeper connection with our inner self. So our false ego is smashed as well. It energizes and balances. So chanting is believed to stimulate energy centers, like the different chakras in the body gets stimulated. The sound vibrations resonate through the body, clearing blockages and promoting a balanced flow of energy. So this sound vibration is very powerful. Once the chakras open, the balanced flow of energy throughout the body, just moves freely. And then we are able to concentrate our mind better in the service of the Lord. So chanting actually is a sacred act that invokes divine presence, and it helps connect with the higher being as well. Now, sometime back, I gave a class as well on the effect of Mahamantra on the mind. So they did this study which shows that chanting can improve cognitive function as well, reduce stress hormones, and enhance emotional resilience as well. So when they did this study, they took some MRI images of the brain at rest. But the images showed that even when the brain was at rest, it was still sending and receiving signals, which they could capture on the MRI images. So the brain was actually not resting, it was still active. But after chanting the Panchtattva mantra and the Maha mantra for some time, they did another scan of the brain, and which showed a lot of reduction in the activity of the brain. So the receiving and sending signals were much reduced after the chanting. So they concluded, that this study shows that the Maha mantra could help with reducing different symptoms of the mind, like anxiety, schizophrenia, and things like that. So once the chanting is done properly, it helps with all these things. So it reduces the activity of the brain and calms the brain as well. So that was very, very nice article and study that was done by Dr. Vivek Baluja. He's actually a devotee. His name is Vinay Gaurachandra Prabhu, and he was the one who did this study. So effect of Mahamantra on the mind as well. So here it says that, or even in the previous verses, we had that after chanting Om, and then we done our pranayam and everything, and now we just meditate on the form of Vishnu or Krishna. So the devotees normally don't just sit and meditate on form of Krishna. Instead, they worship the form of Krishna in the deity form in the temples or even at their homes. And this is our actual meditation, when we actually worship the deity form of Krishna. Because in the temples, once installed, the Pran Pratishtha ceremony is done, the deity is not different from Krishna and is spiritual, not our imaginary material form. So Krishna and the deity form are not different. So another way is the sound or the name of the Lord. It is same as the Lord. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. The Lord Krishna has appeared in Kali Yuga in the form of the holy name. And we know if the holy name is not different from Krishna, that means the holy name is not material as well. How do we know? Because it produces a spiritual effect. So matter can't produce a spiritual effect. Only the spiritual elements can produce spiritual effects, like the holy name. So though appear to be material, these deities or the mantras are spiritual. So the deity responds to the devotional service of the devotees. We have so many examples, so many leelas with the deities and the devotees, Jagannath leelas, and we have Sakshi Gopal, who walked all the way from Vrindavan to Orissa for his devotee. We have the Gopal Bhatta deity, Shalagram, who just became into Radharaman. So many examples how the deity reciprocates, so which shows that the deity form is personal. So Lord Brahma says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchida Ananda Vigraha. So Krishna's form is Satchid Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And he's known as Govinda. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport Govinda name as well. And he's the cause of all causes. We can see also in Damodar Leela, Krishna's beautiful form is described. His lotus eyes, the shark-shaped earrings he's wearing, his conch-like neck, his moon-like face, so many nice descriptions are there. So it shows that Krishna has a form, Vishnu has a form. So when Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods who are different limbs of the Lord are also automatically worshipped. Right? So different limbs of the Lord are represented by different demigods. So therefore, there is no separate need to worship each demigod. 33 crore demigods are there, so we can't worship all of them. So it's better to water the root of the plant, so the branches, the leaves, everything is fulfilled. So when we do yajna, Krishna is the yajna purusha. So if you offer to Vishnu or Krishna, all the demigods are satisfied automatically. And for this reason, devotees also offer everything to Krishna before they eat, which is spiritually nourishing. So by offering food and partaking the remnants as Mahaprasadam, not only are the past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. And how do we know that Krishna eats whatever we offer? Lord Brahma again says, Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti manti. Krishna's one form of the body is interchangeable. Krishna can eat with the eyes, he can see with the ears or whatever. It's all interchangeable. So it's not limited like us. But the best thing that happens in this whole devotional service is shown by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He showed that even the simplest form of meditation, whether it's japa or sankirtan yajna, the sound vibration. So everyone can do this, even simpler than deity worship. In deity worship, we have some rules and regulations to follow, mantras to follow, mudras to follow, right? But chanting, we have to avoid the offenses while chanting, but anyone can do this chanting without much regulation. So the holy name is easier than any other process and is also most effective than any other process, especially in Kali Yuga. It's quicker and takes one to the highest level of bhakti. It's like an elevator. You go straight up. So Lord Chaitanya is known as Namo Mahavadanyaya. He's the most merciful. That's why he's given the best of the best, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So when we chant, our mind becomes completely reconciled in him only. So these two things go together, the kirtan and the mind. So both get absorbed in the Lord. And when the kirtan helps to fully absorb the mind, we can serve the Lord better with fully concentrated mind and vice versa. And once we serve with fully concentrated mind, that means our japa, our service, our kirtan is very nicely performed. So the two complement each other. Shravanam, Kirtanam, also the meditation aspect. So try to chant, as I said, with avoiding the offenses as far as possible. And in Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami says, always remember Krishna by chanting and never forget Krishna by following the four regulative principles. So I'd just like to quickly end here, just a minute, and it's almost 7. So we live in an age of unprecedented distraction, right? When our mind is being so fiercely targeted, how can we focus? So the Bhagavad Gita gives in verse 635, it gives the process, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagya cha grihate. So Chaitanya Prabhu very nicely says there are two aspects here, the feeding the mind and fencing the mind. So abhyas, when we do regulated practice, it means we feed the mind. Feeding the mind, therefore, refers to exposing it to stimuli that will fill it with reflective and constructive energy. Right? So we filter the negative ones and we fill the mind with the positive ones. That's regulated practice, abhyas. And then fencing the mind is vairagya, which is staying away from unhealthy stimuli. So we fence away those stimuli from reaching our mind, like which distract the mind. So feeding the mind is abhyasa or regulated practices, and fencing the mind is staying away from unhealthy stimuli, which is vairagya. And to better focus the mind, we feed it with healthy spiritual stimuli and fence it from unhealthy sensual stimuli, right? So even in so many places in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, man mana bhavadan bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam ivaisesi yuktvaivam atmana mat parayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. And also in 1865, similar thing is given, similar ways, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me. Thus you will come to me, I promise you, because you are my very dear friend, Arjuna. Okay, so it's 7:02, so I'll stop here. It was nice, Bess. If someone has any questions or would like to comment on anything, please feel free. Just unmute and go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So today's class answers two questions. One is, generally people ask, is it the modes that are affecting me, or is it my little minute freedom that is affecting my ways of doing things? And usually our mind is the one who drags us, and we usually identify with our mind. So if you can see here, yesterday's verse, the niyam, asana, and yam, niyam, and asana, those are the externals, and that help us to regulate the modes we can be in. And today's verse, the dhyan, dharana, and samadhi, is about the mind, how we influence them, how we act. So it's a complete balance. And the other question people can ask, how are the ancient teachings, usually ask, how are the ancient teachings practical in today's life? Right? It is very, it's amazing that we see here that Sukadeva Goswami is giving Parikshit Maharaj guidance on what to do, what is important at the end of life, or what's the purpose of life. And he is going to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam has stories of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, where Sri Narad, a guru, a living guru, the transvia medium of the ancient, through whom the ancient teachings will go to the devotees who need those teachings to guide them in their life. And you see here that Sukadeva Goswami is guiding in accordance to that time, place, and situation or circumstance Parikshit Maharaj is in. And this just simplifies everything. It's like we need a living guru who is a transvia medium through whom we get the benefits of ancient teachings. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah, we can see very nicely that how Sukadeva Goswami is going through these different processes and how he's building. We know that Parikshit Maharaj has got only 7 days, right? So he can't go in forest and meditate and do all these things. But even though Sukadeva Goswami is giving the process, but you'll see further down the track how we'll say that the holy name is the only and the best way. to attain salvation. Thank you for the points, Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Mataji. Okay, if not, then have a nice Krishna conscious, blissful day.
There is someone who was speaking.
Does someone have any comments or questions? No, maybe not. Okay, so Krishna willing, we'll see you all tomorrow morning at 6:30. And have a blissful day as well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.